have something better to do right this second, though, since we're starting a draft with Rapha and Ruleth?
I'm curious if Rafa busts out clutch, just to show everybody what he can do. Although Ruleth is really good too. Looks like he's been putting in some time. I'd be surprised clutch. I like Nyx, Anarchy, some faster characters here. Slash is good. Anybody who can get around the map really well on Sarnath, I like. And Visor for me. I'd be surprised if one of these guys didn't go with Visor. Somebody to just track their opponent through a relatively large map, even though you can get everywhere quickly.
Absolutely.
Nice. There's Nyx and yeah.
Uh,
Go.
is this one of like the least played maps at the higher levels, or is it like in the middle of the pack?
I haven't played enough Duel at the higher levels to let you know, man.
Okay, cool.
These
Yeah.
guys.
So there's the clutch into a Visor, Ranger Clutch Visor, a man after your own heart.
I mean, I would think at the higher levels, if what I'm thinking is there is no map is off the table. You should be able to play everything. If you're at that level, I mean, this what map? When you get into a practice session and somebody asks you what map do you want to play, it should be, whatever. I have no preference. That's always what I used to say. I have no preference. We'll play whatever map you want. I mean, when it comes to practice, that's what you should be saying because you want to work them all.
Absolutely. You want to get all the experience. You want to see all the scenarios, all the possible draft choices on every possible map, so that you understand everything. And that's kind of what we're doing here on the road to QuakeCon, because this isn't an established game, right? This game's not even really out yet. So we're seeing the meta built. We're seeing the path or the trail blazed before us. And so I'm just really enjoying that aspect of it. I'm really enjoying seeing how the game is changing and then how the players are playing that game as it changes. And I think it's just getting better and better. And by the time we get to QuakeCon, I think we're just going to have a mind-blowingly awesome pool of maps. I think the champion balance is going to be even more on point than it is already. And I'm just really stoked, man. I'm really happy that we've got 2 more weeks of this as well. But round 1, starting off here on Ruins of Sarnath, we're just going to kick it off with Ruleth. Actually, I'm going to switch over to Rapha right quick. I want to see how he's doing tonight, see if he's nice and warmed up. We've been watching DeHang play a little bit. Now it's time to watch. Would you say that Rapha is considered the best player in the game right now, real quick?
Well, I mean,
In North America.
yeah, I mean, in North America, I mean, you got to go with who was the last QuakeCon champion. I mean, so.
Yeah.
They used to ask John Madden, every year in the NFL, who do you think the best team in the NFL is right there this year, John? And he'd just say, who won the Super Bowl last year? I think I'm going to go with them. So that's what I'm going to go with. Until proven otherwise, he's the man to beat.
Okay. Well, he's definitely corroborating your theory right now. Really showing us how Ruins is played. Really
Okay.
busting out the stops here on Slash of all champions. I did not expect to see this.
That was a slick rocket jump and rail. He knew his opponent didn't have a rail gun, and a nice little Hollywood shot. I like it because he had low health. It was nice.
Yeah, he was 2 rails in on the clutch. There's no way mathematically for that clutch to be above like 60 or 80. So yeah, he knew he had it. But do you see Slash busted out first pick by anybody really often?
No, typically not. We saw him we saw Slash once last week. Like I mentioned earlier, mobility on Sarnath is really nice. So Slash isn't a bad pick at all. And a lot of people you'll see will go with Anarchy. Anarchy's a very popular pick as well. But Crouch Slide can work to get you around areas of this map relatively quickly.
That's what I'm noticing, and that's I think that's one of the more difficult passives to utilize correctly is the crouch slide, because it's not like completely intuitive on how it works on some of these maps, just because of the tight corners, narrow spaces. But yeah, once you get it down, it's one of the better movement mechanics just because of its consistency, I think. And Rapha just kind of cruising through rail there, or sorry, not rail. That's where heavy armor sponsor on duel, and he was armorless before that, so he was actually. He was actually a little bit behind on the stack, but Ruleth, you can see over there, sort of topside mega health, maybe looking over towards like T-bone area. I think just kind of playing it safe, going into the second round after you just got more or less obliterated by Slash. Yeah, I can totally respect his decision to slow it down. And how do you think? I want to ask, how do you think you should be playing against Sorlag here? But I have a feeling your answer is just going to be, well, you're really playing just against Rapha at this point.
Yeah, little things like, for example, Rafa was put good pressure there at Mega Health. So that last, it kind of goes back to before that spawn. The spawn before that, they each grabbed their own item. They were both up at roughly the same time. And Rapha kind of used the fact that Ruleth was a little comfortable with the fact that the timers were equal. So, I'm going to just get the Mega again, and Rapha's going to go get the heavy armor. Well, instead, Rapha said, no, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to go push the Mega for a little bit and then go get a heavy armor. And just that little mental decision can throw somebody off, because, they're thinking, I'm going to come grab this item for free. It's like, no, you're not grabbing it for free. And I'm going to come over here and challenge. And they think you're going to be waiting for some other heavy armor item to spawn. In reality, no, I'm going to let it sit there. So, because they're making it's that chess match again. It's that mental game. What a great shot!
That was disgusting.
Great shot.
Yeah.
But it's that whole mental approach of okay, well, I think their armor's up. I know the armor's up, so player, my opponent's going to go for that heavy armor, right? Well, if I'm that player, I can say, well, he's going to think that, and because you're going to think that, I'm going to go ambush someone else.
Absolutely. Making your opponent make a decision one way or another can be a very powerful tool in and of itself. And we're seeing it here. Rapha with a little change-ups here and there. He does fall. He does fall to Ruleth on that Sorlag, but now he's got the slash back out. He's looking good. Skimming around Ruins up 2. And I don't think this will go another 2 minutes, but that's what's left on the clock. But Ruleth's actually doing a pretty good job of defending this Mega position.
Yeah, Rafa was just looking to put some damage on him. He wasn't really looking to actually challenge.
Just cruising around, man. It looks so fun, when you pull off like really good crouch slides. It just, I don't know, feels good. Like a lot about this game feels mechanically like satisfactory, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I enjoy, like I said, all the different champions and movements. I enjoy it very much. I thought Rafa made an error on his death. He kind of rushed into that LG stream. Got kind of ran into one there, so I'm curious to see how he recovers.
It's almost like he miscounted. Like he miscalculated how much damage he was about to take or how much damage he could take. Which seems odd, given who he is, but hey, mistakes happen. Anyone can make them.
Interesting move there, too, with Slash.
Yeah. Alright, maybe this is a champion he's trying to practice more, and that's why we're seeing some of these, I don't know, less, I guess, predictable movements?
Well, I think it would behoove anybody who's trying to get good at Quake Champions Duel to be versatile with their champion picks. So definitely being able to, you don't want to be like, okay, so you play Anarchy, Anarchy's your champion, but then you have to play somebody else, and you're like at 80% of what you can play as Anarchy. You don't want that kind of a drop off. It's you need to be able to play a variety of champions equally well, or at least mostly equally well.
Right. At the very least, you need to understand how they work so you can play against them at the end of the day, right?
It certainly helps with dealing with those champions, how they move and how their abilities operate. Yes, it just makes you a better all around player. There's no reason why you shouldn't have any champion that you should play them all.
Absolutely. There's 9 out right now. I'm pretty excited to see some more. Rapha finishing off that round. Bringing it to 2-0 here on Ruins of Sarnath.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He doesn't seem to be struggling with Ruleth at all. I mean, he's just really reading him, and he's, even when he's not getting the items, he's smart about challenging and just putting some damage on him, just so he doesn't get the full benefit of a major item. So Ruleth is up against it right now in Sarnath.
Absolutely. Down 2 rounds. But I still think he's got the lineup to take it. Ranger, Visor, Clutch. All he needs to do is sort of connect the pieces here against Rapha's more, we'll say, mobile sort of assassin team. And I think he could just crush one of these rounds in 30, 45 seconds if he gets good spawns.
Yeah, well, it's nothing to do with that engagement. It's fine.
Yeah. I think that was wise of him. It's very difficult to attack into Mega from that hallway in particular.
Yeah, the position he had was certainly not ideal.
No. Now that's a good place to be. Over in the side, maybe just waiting on a small armor, picking rail shots on Rapha's limited health pool on that Nyx. If he could avoid the counter fire, he'd be in a great spot.
Stopwatch.
You got to be careful in this game when you want to pursue. And even though he landed a rail, just strafe jumping carelessly and like around corners or into rooms You just got to be really careful doing that at any time against a top player because one, you can eat a rail like he did, or two, you can run into an LG stream, nice well-placed rocket. Um, Everything you should always be thinking in a duel. You got to be thinking. You should never be thinking, "Oh, I got this under control." Look at this nice drop. It's gonna get aggressive here. Yeah.
That was good. That lined up with the heavy armor timing too.
He just, Ruleth, and that's kind of a good example of how an ambush can just turn everything. He came around the corner, Rapha put a nice LG stream on him, knocked him down in there, and he knew he had him low, so he came in aggressive with some rockets and finished the job, and that's another aspect too about this game is having the killer instinct to recognize when a frag opportunity is there. It's one thing to pick rails at somebody or rocket here and there, but recognizing when it's good to go all in and get that frag is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that's one of the skills that you master kind of like later in your career. That's one of the higher tier abilities in my opinion. Is to have that level of understanding.
Because you'll see, especially the higher tier players, sometimes they'll make pushes and they'll have, what you'll consider like, wow, why didn't they get, more defensive there? They really pushed, took a risk there, and it's like they're making those calculated risks. Oh, here we go. Yeah, he's got to see him. It's good. He knew.
It's good that he baited the shield out. So.
Yeah, a little unfortunate on Rapha that he saw the smoke, but.
I feel like it was just so he could do something like that. Just corner him, no shield, just take the damage to him. Like you said, killer instinct. I think Rapha just knew he was ahead there.
Yeah, no, Rapha's really great at recognizing, just all the things that kind of mentioned in terms of keeping track of player movement, player stack, the item spawns. He's really got the fundamentals of this game down, and then some. Not to mention far more than just the fundamentals.
Oh yeah. I'm very, very anxious to see who else comes out here in Quake Champions. What other players we see really contest him, hopefully surpass him. It's inevitable.
Even the way he approached Mega there, you see the way, that was just a good approach. He used his Ghost Walk. If Ruleth was there and decided to challenge for that Mega, he was toast. It was a good exploratory Ghost Walk. Oh, nice railing though by Ruleth.
Yep. So I was saying earlier, man, this like really kind of lightweight lineup, not a huge pool until you get over to Sorlag, of course. All he needs to do is lock down some solid rockets or rails, and I think he could really potentially take this third round, man. He just needs to be very, very careful, just very calculated, and start to understand what Rapha's doing.
Well, he's got to get a rush on it now.
Oh yeah, this was a good opportunity, but those missed rockets I think are going to come up on him. That's still good though. That's better than good. This is probably going to keep him in this.
Yeah, that was a good switch to LG there. So now we got an interesting game on our.
Yes, we do. Rapha on that slash, moving around the map, seeming almost fed up with the way he's moving right now. 15 seconds till we go into sudden death, but it's tied up anyway, so
He's fully stacked now, so he can be looking to apply pressure. The thing is, he's got to recognize the Rapha's going to be smart. You got to be careful of some of these major areas. He's going to be looking to snipe at you and just kind of get that stack down.
So I would say
this is a mistake
mathematically by Rapha.
Ruleth was late getting down there. It's a bit of an error on his part.
Yep, and I think I just heard his ability, so he's got a few seconds where he can really start to corner Rapha, who counters with an ability of his own, gets through the portal up to Mega. And Ruleth, I think, was in a much more advantageous position even 15 seconds ago than he is now.
Oh, he should get the kill here. Oh, great recovery by Rapha.
Yep, hits the rail, pushes him off the ledge, gives him an opportunity to get away. Good read, but Ruleth was ready.
Yeah, good way to come down and meet him at heavy armor. Nice rail, nice shot. Shane, Rapha kind of got away with one. I thought he was going to die there at the Mega Health fight because Ruleth was coming in hard and put some damage on him. So he kind of bailed himself out with that rail, but Ruleth kept the pressure coming at the heavy armor and got the kill. So here we go. Maybe this is where the comeback starts.
Yeah, they all start somewhere. And I dare say Ruleth's looking a lot more comfortable than he was in round 1. You know, that first round versus Slash was a little rough. So I think he's in a much better position now. Although you're starting to see Rapha's movements get a little bit tighter here at the start of this round. I think he's maybe starting to turn the concentration up a little bit.
Just for the Ruleth, you know, try not to think about your opponent too much. I mean, just play your game. Try to play within yourself. And try, you know, don't. I mean, I know it's hard, but don't get intimidated.
Yeah, that's another big thing about this game. It's not just your ability to force decisions by your opponent, but it's also your ability to like live with the decisions your opponent's forcing you to make. It's not getting stressed out or, you know, frightened, startled in a situation.
Yeah, confidence certainly has something to do with that. How you handle those situations, which only comes again, you know, experience and getting those games in, and you know, where you feel confident that when you get in certain scenarios, you're going to come out the victor.
Absolutely.
So, and I see it sometimes in these matches. You know, players will have maybe somebody more experienced or a bigger name, or you know, some kind of pro player in a position where they could push, and they'll back off. You know, maybe giving them a little too much respect.
Yeah, do you think that's a mistake that's like really too easy to make, is to just naturally, like, you'll have Rapha say on 20 or 30 health, but you're looking at him like he's this unstoppable Quake god, so you're approaching him, he's like he's fully stacked every time. You know, you think that's a really common mistake when a lower tier player has to go up against a higher tier player?
Yeah, I think it's fairly common because lower tiered players don't keep track of enemy stacks very well. So I think it's kind of a common thing where learning how to finish, like I mentioned earlier, is important in this game. Recognizing the frag opportunity. Ruleth's in a bad spot. He should not have been there. I mean, low health. I know the mega health was coming up, but unless you're going to be there and it's popping right that second, that's just not a good area to be in.
And I feel like Clutch, with the way his movement is after the most recent patch, I feel like he definitely didn't have to be in the middle of that platform. He could have set himself up to jump through there at, you know, 600 units or something on the spawn instead of being a big obvious target. Yeah,
his movement upgrade. I'd say that his movement upgrade, like, you know, because he's a robot, so naturally it was an upgrade. It's been really good for Clutch. Oh, shit. He's got him cornered here.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough spot to be in.
This is kill zone. You don't let him out of here.
Yeah. Nope. You win. Nope, he decided that was the time to end this Ruins duel on round number 4. Rapha looking pretty good.
Looking strong. Like I said, Ruleth, you know, you could tell how he plays. He's a solid player, and Rapha just took him apart.
Absolutely, but I think, you know, he's got potential. Like he's not so far gone that there's no contest. I think maybe on a different map, different day, you know, he could take a game off of him. So we'll have to see what the second map is. Could make all the difference. If you were Ruleth, if you had just played against Rapha and you saw that, you know, you started off getting kind of demolished by Slash, and then you saw more of a, I don't know, I guess standard dual style of play after that to beat you, what map would you most want to play right now?
That's a tough question. I mean, it really, you just got to go with whatever your strength is, and not like mentioned, you can't worry about that you're playing Rapha and think, oh, he's going to be good at this map, he's going to be good at that map. You just got to think, what's your best map, and go for it. And you can't really think about all that other stuff.
Gotcha. Do you think Blood Run? I agree with Blood Run because I was talking about Clutch on Blood Run earlier, the tight spaces, how you can do that shield rush, and it's extremely effective. I think this is a really good map for his lineup, assuming Rapha we're going to play the same lineup again.
I like Clutch on Blood Run, definitely, because there's a lot of armor, and you know, with the mega health, you can really build his stack up, and with the new this new movement, he can really, you know, hit some areas and change elevation, especially in the tri-bolt shotgun area. So I'm curious. Galena, I really like the Galena pick by Rapha.
Oh yeah.
The portals here are really good plays for the totems. Even going into the portals, I really like in certain corners and stuff that people come around, you know, because you're trying to get around the map quickly. It's just a lot of opportunities for Galena play on this map. I expect to see it more pretty common on Blood Run.
Yeah, I mean the one that comes to mind is the portal to heavy armor. You know, you're going to be blowing through that portal as fast as you can, depending, but most of the time you are, and you're going to just walk into a face full of totem if you're not careful.
Yeah, and even putting it before in the blood pool before you go into that portal, because people come around that corner really fast, because they're trying to get to the heavy armor. That's what they're thinking about, and it's easy to just run right into that totem.
Yeah, that is a pretty rough little blind corner. Come in, it's like past rail, basically under where he is now. Yeah, I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen Galena be as impactful on other maps as I have like this one, honestly.
I think she's fairly effective on Corrupted Keep as well. It has some, the LG portal, and it's a smaller map, so when people make these pushes, because it's all LG and RL, you get an RL fight, it's kind of nice. You can throw down a totem right at their feet. So I think we haven't seen the last of Galena. I'm like, as things progress over these months, I'm curious to see how inventive people get with all these abilities and different champions.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be balance tweaks here and there. There's gonna be potentially new champions in the nearly foreseeable future. It's only gonna get better from here, I think. It's already pretty darn good, so that bodes well for us by the time we hit QuakeCon. This is interesting right here. What, Rapha waiting all that time for armor, or do you think that's part of a little mind game?
It's early on. You're just trying to, get your stack, and you don't want to do anything foolish in this very first engagement. This first engagement's huge, because you both kind of start off with something. So both of them kind of run around and got their arsenal. Who can set themselves up to really get control of both major items, because somebody's going to lose this engagement, is going to have to run for the light armors and stuff in the back while somebody else gets control. So it's going to be a rough push here. This shouldn't do this. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised Rapha didn't have a rocket out right there. Oh,
jeez, living, I mean, just by the most narrow of margins there. So I like Anarchy plays here just because of how well he can skirmish and how well he can pop you off power-ups with rockets and then get away. But you're right, I'm really surprised that there wasn't a rocket waiting for him coming around that corner into Mega. Could have easily finished there, but a shotgun to the face is just as good.
Wonderful shotgun by Shane. And again, Ruleth kind of coming around a corner carelessly right into his opponent. I mean, obviously, right, if he knew Rapha was there, his shotgun doesn't come around like that. So that's poor tracking on his part.
Yeah. I think it almost comes back to like the very beginning where he's sitting up here waiting for armor. I feel like he's such a good player, Rapha, that he's sort of setting you up for these moves, minutes ahead of time. It really felt like he was always pushing Ruleth into taking that side stair to rocket, that sort of shortcut where Rapha hadn't been yet, but then he was waiting in a perfect position at the right time. I think that's one of his biggest strengths, is the way he plays. The like colder zones in a map if you were using heat maps.
Nice recognition. Ran into his totem, so he knew. This is excellent play by Rapha. And he's so slick. I love watching this guy play.
And it makes it all look so easy.
A lot of these guys do. I mean, it's easy to watch some of the movement and the shots and think, oh, that looks easy. Some of these guys bridge the rail with the Anarchy, and they just zip over there, and that looks like no problem. It's easy. It's easy if you're experienced with Quake and that kind of movement. It's easy.
So, by the way, that drop-down shield usage by Ruleth to kind of scout down Mega Hall, do you think that's necessarily like good, efficient use of shields?
No. The shield is best to get in their face, preferably with the rocket launcher. You want to meet them around the corner. You want to be in their face with the stack, turn on that shield, and you just get in an RL battle, and that's a wrap. It really is. So, I don't think it's an exploratory kind of ability. I think it's something you need to use to win a fight. And I mean, if you're using it defensively or something to run away, I mean, it's just you're not getting benefit out of it. I would say only use it in those scenarios if you think it's going to save your life or really, or save control somehow where you're not going to lose a bunch of stack. But
right, and that's of course, we're only talking about duel here. At sacrifice, this becomes a whole completely different conversation potentially. So,
Nice LG by got launched in the air, but he still was able to track the LG. Just a sign of he's been working and practicing. That's consistency right there.
Yeah, it was really disciplined. Like you said, even getting popped in the air, where a lot of players will have a full second or 2 seconds where they completely lose tracking, he kept it on nice and smooth. You can tell he's been at this pretty hard the past few weeks. And busting out the Ranger first time. I like that. Going into the second round, changing it up a little bit. And Dire Orb's so good here.
Now, Ruleth made a little error there. He got kind of goaded into a fight. And I mentioned the last time, I think it might have been with Jahar last week, but going on those platforms, tri-bolt or shotgun, and not having a lightning gun is very, very dangerous because it is a good LG lineup point, and he paid for that. Yeah, with the lightning gun.
Absolutely, and that was one of the initial engagements, which, you know, like you said, are extremely important in a duel.
Good shooting by Ruleth.
Yeah, he's really keeping his calm. But even when he knows just one good rail or rocket and his stack evaporates and he's suddenly one-shot to almost anything. And if he's not careful...
It's the one thing I don't like, or one of the things I don't like about Anarchy, especially in a map like this. You see how limited he is with this stack. So, Blood Run, in my opinion, there are a lot of corners and situations where you're going to be flying around the map and using rockets. And I just don't feel a lighter character who, you know, Nyx on one hand has Ghost Walk, so you can choose your engagement a little bit. But Anarchy, you know, they fly. Typically, an Anarchy player is going to fly around the map really fast and come around those corners, you know, blazing 100 miles per hour, and you don't really have the time to react. If you get hit with one good rocket, you're in hurting really critical shape.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't take 2 direct rockets as Anarchy. It's just not in the cards. And Rapha pushing Ruleth back a little bit. Ruleth coming out with that clutch second champ. Wow, this is... Man,
He
this
knows
is
as
just...
well. It's
Yeah,
really
you-
aggressive there.
Yeah, it comes back to that spacing, like you were saying. Not having a lightning gun at that space, or at that range, you just get punished. Ooh.
Shane, Rafa getting a little cheeky there with the gauntlet.
Yep, bounced it off. Took way more damage than he needed to in that fight, but he looked good doing it, so I guess it was worth it. He's dangerously low, and well, I guess Ruleth's actually pretty low too. I thought he was a little bit more stacked, and I was gonna ask, like, why isn't he attacking? Well, that's because he's almost dead. And he's just eyeballing that heavy.
I really like Nyx here to choose your engagements. If you can read your opponent right, you come around with a blind Ghost Walk, meaning they can't see the mist from you disappearing. You can really light somebody up. And I favor, again, starting with a rocket ambush, because you can really get that first.
Yep, instantly busts out the rocket launcher, you know, kind of correcting his mistake from earlier where he didn't have it out at that close quarters.
Yeah, it's really tough. Like, Ruleth is up against it with Rapha. Rapha's really sharp with the rockets, and Ruleth kind of, in my opinion, he's got to be a little careful more careful when he doesn't have control, and the way he's kind of he's trying to get around the map so quick sometimes. I think that he's not taking care in terms of tracking where his opponent is while he's doing it, and Rafa's lighting him up with some well-timed ambushes here and there. Or he's just coming around the corner and he's just not ready to see him in his face.
Yeah, I will say Rapha seems more patient. It seems like he takes his time at certain points in a duel. You know, he'll take 2 or 3 seconds where he just seems to slow it down, really think and consider his position, his opponent's probable position and stack. And I think that's a huge difference between these two players. Something really setting them apart is that discipline that Rapha has. And that sort of the player of that level. You know, that's just what it takes. He's really showing it off. He's not slacking off. He's not taking it easy. Nope, he's playing like really smooth, calculated Quake right now. I think Ruleth's going to have a nearly impossible time killing a rapha clutch with an anarchy, you know?
Can do it right here. He died at the same time. That's again.
Curse.
Again, there's that minimal stack. So come flying around the corner, you know, getting in an RL battle, and you're an anarchy. It's just, it's not ideal. It's definitely not ideal.
Well, I'm glad he got a kill out of it. I'm glad he was able to trade, because otherwise, you know, that puts you in a pretty bad spot for this round, losing your anarchy for nothing. I'm kind of sad Rapha gave up on the totem dream. And he knows, you know, he heard the clutch up top. He knows he can take his time. Grab the mega right there. Easy read towards Rocket. And yeah, he should be able to pressure Ruleth here in the next like 5 or 10 seconds and convert this into a kill if he just controls it like he is.
Yeah, he's definitely wearing him down. He's going to take this next couple spawns. He's knowing him. He'll probably play it a little safe. And he'll come fight this mega. If Ruleth is foolish enough to be down there, this is definitely a frag opportunity for Rapha. He's going to go for that mega.
He didn't even peek it, so he wasn't worried, but he knows he's going to be back down there in a second. He spots Ruleth up top, which is, ooh, that's really risky. Would have liked to see a rail in the back and then Ruleth getting out of dodge there.
Good timing by Ruleth. Good steal.
Oh yeah. Oh, taking too much damage without the shield up though.
Nice finish by Rapha. LG, you know, kind of got him out in the open after the little bit of the rocket fight there, and you don't want to be in an LG battle without with the clutch.
Yeah, no,
he
like
really
hard to
is
miss,
the size
right?
of a house.
Yeah. Yep, he is 2 or 3 Galenas taped together. It's pretty crazy.
Wonderful timing there.
Yeah, we're definitely a little bit later in this round. Ooh.
That dire orb might have almost cost him. Good
Yep.
finish with the shotgun. Yeah, the dire orb, you know, has a little bit of a reload timer too as well for people who don't know. So you throw that dire orb, you can't weapon switch right away. You have to wait about a second or so, and then you can actually switch. So you got to be careful sometimes throwing that in close combat because you can't shoot or go to rockets at the same time. But solid win by Rapha. Not surprised. I mean, granted, props to Ruleth for giving his best shot. You know, he's really up against it. I mean, this is somebody with a lot of tournament experience, somebody who knows how to win. So, you know, good job. And Rapha's obviously ready to play.